Okay, solve the equation. Well, first of all, we need to decide what kind of equation is this. Is this linear? If it was linear, I would just get my variables on one side, my numbers on the other. It's add, subtract, multiply, or divide. But no, this is not linear. You see that x squared? This is quadratic. So we are going to solve this problem numerous ways to bring this unit all together. First of all, can I solve it by factoring? And if I can, and if I'm good at factoring, factoring is usually the easiest way. This I can factor, so I got everything on one side. I will now factor it. How do I get x squared? That would be x times x. I want to get a negative 15, so I can use 1 times 15 or 3 times 5. I'm going to use 3 times 5. It's a negative 15, so 1 needs to be a positive and 1 needs to be a negative. I want a positive 2x in the center, so I'm going to put the positive by my largest number. Now we have this x minus 3 times x plus 5 equals 0. So we know that one of those must be 0. This is called the zero product property. If x minus 3 equals 0, that means x must equal 3. If x plus 5 is equal to 0, that means x must equal negative 5. So my solution set is a positive 3, negative 5. Now I'm going to take this same equation and solve it a different way. It's a quadratic equation. I'm not going to factor it. Can I use a square root property? No, you have an x squared and an x to the first. You can only use a square root property if you have an item squared. But I'm going to complete the square so I can use the square root property. That's when we complete the square, so we can use a square root property. So I need to get my variables on the left, so the x squared plus the 2x, and I will add 15 to both sides. Now I'm ready to find my special number. What is my special number here? Take the number with the x, divide it by 2, and then we square it. What is 2 divided by 2? It's 1. And when I square 1, 1 times 1 is just 1. So I'm going to add 1. But if I add 1 to the left side, I have to add 1 to the right side. So let's factor this. When I factor this, it's going to be x plus 1 times x plus 1, which is x plus 1 squared. Exactly the way I planned it. On the right side, just work that out. 15 plus 1 is 16. Now can I use the square root property? Yes. This is not x. This is not 1. This is x plus 1 squared. It's all by itself. This item that is squared is all by itself. So I'm going to take the square root of both sides. And when you take the square root of something squared, you get just the x plus 1 on the right side. Do not forget, I took the square root of both sides. So that will be plus or minus, and the square root of 16 is 4. Am I through? No. X is not by itself yet. You need to subtract 1 from both sides. Now, the common mistake here, we have x on the left side. On the right side, People want to put plus or minus 5. That's what they want to do. It's not plus or minus 5. The plus or minus is with this 4, not with 5. Where is 5? Plus or minus is with the 4. I know I have a negative 1 over here, so I'm going to put down my negative 1. It doesn't have plus or minus in front of it. It's just minus 1. The plus or minus is in front of the 4. Now, please don't leave your answer like that, because you know you can put 1 and 4 together. They are like terms. So we have negative 1 plus 4, which is going to be 3. We also have negative 1 minus 4, which is going to be a negative 5. Once again, my solution set is a positive 3 and a negative 5. And the last way that we are going to solve this same equation is the quadratic formula. And the quadratic formula works every single time. So, what is everything on one side? Yes, it's equal to 0. My A is equal to 1. It's just the number that is in front of the x squared. B is equal to 2. And C is equal to negative 15. Whenever you have that negative, be careful. Let's go. So we have negative B plus or minus, are you singing the song? I bet you are. B squared minus 4AC. I'm going to jot this down. B squared minus 4AC. B squared, that's going to be 2 squared minus 4 times A is 1 and C is a negative 15. So 2 squared, that's 4. Be careful here. I have negative 4 times 1 times negative 15. That's also a minus, but the bottom line is how many negatives or minus or whatever's here? 2. A negative times a negative is a positive. That is going to be a positive 60. 4 times 1 times 15 is 60. And 4 plus 60 is 64. So that'd be plus or minus, and then B squared minus 4AC, the discriminant under here, that is 64. Remember, the discriminant, it is positive in this case, so I know I'm going to have 2 real answers, and all that is over 2 times A, which happens to be 1. So that we negative 2 plus or minus, what is the square root of 64? Correct, it is 8. All that over 2 times 1 is 2. And now let's work this out. We have negative 2 plus 8 over 2. Don't forget, it's over 2. What is that? Negative 2 plus 8, that'd be a positive 6 over 2, which is 3. Would you look at that? I got 3 for my answer again. I also have another choice, not just negative 2 plus 8. I also have negative 2 minus 8. So let's write that down. Negative 2 minus 8 over 2. Negative 2 minus 8, that will be negative 10. All that is divided by 2. Negative 10 divided by 2 is a negative 5. My solution set is 3, negative 5 once again. So we solve this by factoring because it was factorable. I got 3, negative 5. We solve this by completing the square. I got 3, negative 5. Lastly, we solve this by the quadratic formula, and we got 3, negative 5. My dear friends, that is not magic. That is mathematics.